I think it's Stroll in their sport weight in the color bear, like B-A-R-E, like naked bear, not bear, or. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel by Emwu. I'm Emwu, aka Marianne, and here we talk about all things crafty, primarily knitting. We have a normal podcast episode for you guys today. This is where we talk about my work in progresses, my finished objects, some yarn acquisitions, all that fun stuff. So if this is up your alley, stay tuned. I have one finished object, a handful of work in progresses, and a few more yarn acquisitions because I went to Knit City, Toronto a couple weeks ago and you guys haven't seen that, as well as some test knitting plans as per usual. So grab something fun to knit on and let's get started. Quickly, before we jump into the meat and bones, let's talk about what I'm wearing today. So this is my Sanna cardigan. It is a beautiful all over lace cardigan that Rebecca Clow just released. I think the pattern came out on the 24th of May, so it's like fresh out of the box. And it is a beautiful two patterned all over lace cardigan. I have the short sleeve version, but you can definitely knit a long sleeve one that's also in the pattern. And I test knitted size 1 for her a couple months ago. So I'm really excited with how this turned out. I don't usually wear white, nor do I usually wear lace. And so this is something that is like not something that I would usually wear, but I really like it. It's really comfortable. My specific version is made in Cascade 220 in the color white, which is what her sample was. And I saw it and I was like, ooh, I kind of want that. While I don't think this has converted me into like a lace girly, I definitely like this and think it's perfect for the spring weather. It's like still airy, but very warm because it is wool. I have so many good things to say about this yarn. I love Cascade 220 now. It's fairly affordable. I think it's like 200 meters for 100 grams. At least at my local yarn store, it's like $13 a skein. And I think I used 2 and a little bit to make this. Like you get quite a bit. And then I want to give the buttons a shout out. They're the cutest buttons. I think they match. They're like kind of off-white. Really, really cute. They're nothing special realistically. But yeah, really happy with how this turned out. Definitely check it out if you're interested with the pattern. She also has another lace cardigan. I think it's called the Cardigan cardigan. That has more like eyelet detailing if you're interested in that one. But this one has 2 fun patterns and I would highly recommend it. It was a really fun, quick knit. So let's talk about my one finished object real quick. This is something that I casted on and finished in the time between my last podcast and filming today. So you guys haven't seen this before. I still need to block it, but it is otherwise finished. I even weaved in the ends, and that is a baby bear balaclava by, ooh, what's the designer's name? The name is escaping me, but it's by like the Knitting for Olive owner, I believe. I have made the baby bear bonnet so many times. You guys have probably seen that like a ton of times in the past. I'm still using the same yarn combination. If you guys are familiar, this is the Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Marzipan held with Sandnes Garn Silk Mohair in 1015. It is the yarn combo that I used for my Merino cardigan that was like started a year ago and finished like maybe in the June, September time. Or in the like late summertime, and I had so much extra that I've made maybe like 3 baby bonnets with that yarn. I still have some going strong, but yeah, it's a really cute color. Like it's really neutral. I think it's great for like children, which is why I've been making a lot of this. And so this is for one of my cousins' 1-year-old. She's turning 1 soon, and so I thought I'd make her something fun. I know it's like not the season for this kind of stuff, but I made it big so she can wear it in the like winter time, and it's really cute. The pattern overall like is very similar construction as the bonnet. This one you start in the round because you start like in the space area, which it tells you not to use mohair for the ribbing, which is to keep the mohair out of the children's face, which I think is smart. And then you eventually split it where you're doing German short rows. You make the bear ears and then you kind of like cinch it in the back before working on the bottom, like what is this called? Like the kind of dicky styled shape. There is a version where you don't have to do this. You can just do ribbing and stop there. I like kind of like how that sits. I don't have a great photo of this because I haven't blocked it yet, but I'll insert the photo of me putting this on Jube. Jube is such a great sport, and if you guys don't know who Jube is my standard poodle. I thought it'd be fun to put it on her. She didn't hate it, but I don't think she loved it. She's very tolerable of us, and she puts up with a lot of our annoyances. But yeah, a lot of great things to say about the pattern overall. Like, it is really cute. There is one component that I do think was a little confusing. I don't know if I like really gave it a chance in terms of understanding it. I kind of just was like, I knew what I kind of needed to do to get it to go the direction that I was thinking. So I kind of like knitter's intuition finished it. I think if you had to follow it, it probably isn't the clearest pattern in the world. So would not recommend this for a first timer. Also because it has a whole bunch of different techniques. You need to know circular knitting, you need to know German short rows, you need to know how to seam, and just it is very technique intensive in my opinion. But if you have like the core elements down, or you've tried like short rows in a sweater, and you've tried seaming in a sock, and you knit in the round, like someone could figure it out. But overall, really excited with how this turns out. I can't wait to see photos of them in it. This is my first time making the balaclava, and I don't think it will be my last. I do think I still prefer the bonnet, if I'm being honest, but it's a good option for like older children because I think they're a little bit more mobile and you don't want the bonnet falling off. So would recommend it overall, but not to beginner. And then lastly, I've said this in the past, every time you see the word balaclava, do you want to say baklava? Because I do. I really have to like stop and think and be like, not baklava, balaclava. But you know, and then there's a really hilarious YouTube video about someone getting the two words confused. I'll link that video in the description. It's hilarious. Not totally related, but like kind of really related. But yeah, the baby bear balaclava, finished object number 1, and the only finished object I have in this episode. Okay, where to start next in terms of work in progresses? I think I'm gonna do the one that hasn't shown up in a podcast in a while because it should be a fairly quick update, and then I'll go into the sweater I'm working on and then the t-shirt that I'm test knitting. Okay, so this is something that is not new, but it's something that hasn't been shown on the podcast, probably not since last year. I just haven't really been working on it, but after going to Knit City and buying a whole bunch of mini skeins, I kind of got like the sudden surge to work on it again a little bit, so I added a few more squares, and if you guys know what I'm talking about, that is my half scrap blanket. So this probably looks very familiar if you guys are aware of the Laura Penrose Sweet Shop blanket, and that's because it's basically a knockoff of hers. And I say a knockoff in like the best way, not me trying to knock her off, but more so me being very inspired by it. And the story is basically when she first designed her Sweet Shop blanket, it was kind of like a passion project that she shared in her podcast. Which definitely go check them out if you're interested in like Laura Penrose's design process. She is a phenomenal designer and just overall knitter. But she introduced this like scrappy-ish blanket thing that she was working on, I want to say like January last year. And I saw it in the podcast and I was like, oh my God, like I can't wait for her to release a pattern. I really want to knit that. And early on in the process, she was like, I don't think I'm going to release a pattern. This is just like a side project that I'm doing it. And she gave some tips in terms of like, if you want to make a version of yourself, like here's what I did. So using what she said in that podcast, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. It's a blanket. If it doesn't like work out perfectly, that's fine. It should be fairly straightforward to figure out in my mind. It wasn't too bad. There's definitely some things that I probably didn't optimize the way she eventually did in her pattern. Nevertheless, when we like fast forward a couple months, she eventually did release it as a surprise pattern in September. By then I had already started and I didn't think that I needed to buy the pattern because I had already like kind of figured it out on my own. But if you want to make a version like this, go check out her pattern. I take no credit to designing this because I did not. I just took that style and was like, yeah, it's cute. But basically I'm calling this my half scrap it because all of these like elements are either scrap yarn or mini skeins that I have / have purchased. and I am like kind of offsetting them with this like off-white color, which is Knit Picks. I think it's Stroll in their sport weight in the color Bear, like B-A-R-E, like naked bear, not bear, or I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, it's grown a little bit. I think the last time it was on the podcast, I want to say it was only like 8 squares in. I definitely added a few more. All of the colors that I've used, if I have a name, are on my Ravelry page for this. So if there's a color that you see that you like, go check that out. I don't have names for all of them, so I apologize. Some of the ones that of note are, this one is Vineyard at Night from Fireweed Fiber Co. This one is an opal sock yarn. A lot of these other ones, I ordered a whole bunch of like minis from an Etsy shop that she just kind of gives you like a grab bag of a whole bunch of different colors. So I don't know what any of those colors are. I purchased a whole bunch of minis from Knit City that I will talk about at the end. Also don't know what those colors are. So eventually my Ravelry page will be getting very boring in terms of like what each color is, because I don't know what they are. Some of them my sister gave me, so anything that I do know, I have put in my Ravelry page if you're interested in. So yeah, I don't know what size I'm growing this to. I'm kind of just working on it in the background. It's been on and off. I got like a little bit of like motivation to work on it a couple weeks ago, and I added like 5 squares, and then I haven't worked on it since. So it's kind of like an on-off project for me, but that is my half scrap blanket update. I probably won't show that again until it makes quite a bit more progress, which I don't know when will happen. My next work in progress is a sweater. It's a mohair sweater that probably isn't very fitting for this season, but you know what? I kind of accepted that I just kind of knit whatever I feel like knitting. Sometimes it's in season, sometimes it's not. I don't see like needing to force myself to knit spring, summer stuff just because I'm in the spring and summer. Also because like knitting like wool animal fibers, sometimes it's nicer on the hands. But anyways, this is something that you guys saw in the last podcast, and I have, oops, just lost some yarn, but finished the body, and that is my Stickless season sweater by Rebecca Clow. So this is a really beautiful drop shoulder styled sweater that has this really nice like detailing along the underarm area. It's got a little bit of like ribbing texture, and this one is very heavily inspired by Rebecca Clow's version, where she used this exact yarn combo. I saw it in her podcast and I was like, I love that green color and I really want to make it. So this is a combo of Drops alpaca in the color grass green, held with Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the color pea shoots. I have them here. They're not like a perfect combo, but I actually really like how they knit up together. So you can tell that the pea shoots, which is this mohair, is quite a bit lighter. The like more vibrant green yellow tone come from the alpaca, and this combo of yarn is so soft and luscious. I like, can you see that drape? Like it probably isn't showing up really well, but it's like so soft, and it's like kind of airy, but definitely going to be very warm. I'm really excited with how this is turning out, and I cannot wait to wear it. What else to say? So the original pattern has like a yoke pattern on the top. So this is why this is stickless. It doesn't have the sticks, but I'm just making a stockinette version. And like I said, the body is made. It has a really nice chunky 2x2 ribbing on the bottom. I think next up, when I get the chance, I'll do the collar. I know in the pattern the collar is the last thing to do, but I remember reading somewhere that you should always do the collar before the sleeves, because the collar will influence like how long you need to make the sleeve, because if it cinches up the top more, you'd have to knit the sleeve longer, if that makes sense. So I'll probably do the collar next, and plus once the collar's on, I feel like a sweater or a top or whatever you're working on really turns into like what it is. And right now it just kind of looks like a box, and I think once the collar goes on, it will like look like kind of like a vest, I guess. It has a pretty chunky 2x2 collar. I don't know if I will make it that chunky, but I'm excited to see how this goes. I do hope that it does block out a little bit, because right now it's not hitting the drop shoulderness that I thought it was going to be. Like, it's like a very subtle drop shoulder. I think my swatch blocked out a little bit, so we'll have to see, but really satisfied with this. I actually love the yarn combo so much that I have plans to make a black version, and I really have my eye on buying like the maroony red color of the alpaca. So I don't have that, and I probably won't let myself buy that for a while, but maybe in the future. We'll see. If you see this pattern a lot in the future, you have been warned. I do anticipate this being like the drop shoulder pattern for myself. Oh, if anybody wants to know, this is a size 2. And I think the pattern's supposed to have like 6 to 10 centimeters of positive ease or something like that. I don't fully remember. All size related stuff according to patterns will be in the description. Sometimes I forget to mention them. And I do try to focus on size inclusive patterns or knit up patterns that are like hitting that 60-inch bust circumference after accounting for ease. So if any of you guys are interested in those details, usually they're in the description below. I've been making a lot of progress on my garments that I've been having right now, because I have a test knit coming up the pipeline that I really want to clear my needles for. Not completely, but just like start like turning things over so that I'm not like backlogged with a lot of work in progresses. This next work in progress is my main priority for the last bit. So once I finish the Stickless season sweaters body, it's been a little bit on hold. I do plan on finishing it in the foreseeable future, but I'm currently working on a silk t-shirt test knit that, one, I want to get it done because it is a test knit and I do want to have that finished before the end of the deadline. The deadline's not until the deadline's not until July, so I still have some time, but I don't want it to like catch me off guard, if that makes sense. So I've been prioritizing my test knit before starting a test knit that I just got. This is my Reveries tee. I am in the process of doing the sleeve on one side, so we're getting there, but I casted off the body yesterday and I'm almost done the sleeve. I'm like in the final ribbing section. It's a circular yoke silk t-shirt and it is beautiful. This is my first time working with Knitting for Olive pure silk, and it is quite nice actually, considering it is silk. I want to make a correction. In my last podcast I mentioned that it was like silk is like a plant fiber. My mother actually corrected me and was like, that's not true. Silk is from an animal. And I'm like, you are right. It functions like plant fiber because it doesn't have the elasticity that usually animal fibers have. But she is correct. Silk is technically an animal protein yarn. So just clarifying here. But regardless, it is categorized in my head as functioning more like a summer yarn because it reminds me more of like linen and cotton than it does of wool. But this is a silk shirt. It's really nice. It does, like the Knitting for Olive pure silk, I think any type of silk is a little splitty, and that's just inevitable based off like how it is spun. But it feels really nice. I cannot wait to wear this in like a really hot summer day. It's already getting pretty hot where we are, and I think it would be so nice. So this also has a 2x2 rib set, and the fun part about this is that it has like eyelet detailings around the borders. So there's a little bit around the collar there. The ones around the sleeves might be a little bit easier to see, and they have the same style on the bottom here. And this test knit has been going really well. The designer, I think her name is Hannah, also known as HerbGarden Knitwear. She gave us quite a few months to do it, which I do really appreciate. It's been a really like easygoing test knit, which I do like. We hit midway, like mid-May, and so like I said, this is due in July, which I will probably be done by then. The only modification that I've done is I've made this shirt a little bit longer. It is quite cropped in the original pattern. I think I added like an extra 2 centimeters or so. I guess quite cropped is a little overestimating. It's cropped though. did benefit from a little bit of length in my perspective for how I wanted to wear it. But I tried it on last night. It fits really nicely. I think it will like relax a little bit once I block it, and it will just be super drapey, super airy, like perfect for the summer weather. I'm thinking it'd be great like camping or at the cottage, like by the lake, you know. But kind of want to make like a brighter color. There's a bunny outside. Sorry, got distracted. But yeah, this color, I forgot to mention, is in powder. Knitting for Olive, pure silk in the color powder. So having a great time. It is a little bit of a slog to knit because it is on like 2.75 millimeter needles. I think I needed to size down to meet gauge. Recommended needle is 3 millimeters, but I guess I'm a fairly loose knitter is what I'm kind of learning. But yeah, hopefully this will be done in the next podcast. I will say knitting the pure silk on the small sleeve circumference has not been fun. In the round was fine, but my next test knit is also a silk garment, and I'm debating if I want to switch over to metal needles. Although I don't typically like using metal needles as much, I think it maybe might benefit. I have to decide before I swatch for that pattern. Those are all my work in progresses. Let's talk about this test knit now. So quickly, I applied for the Melides dress test knit that Inês put out. She is doing an update to increase the sizes to the Melides dress. If you guys don't know the Melides dress, it's a really beautiful like summer silk drapey. Oh, it's glorious. I fell in love with it when I first saw it last year, and I've been dreaming of it ever since. I've been a little nervous to knit it, to be honest, but then Sherry from Good Knits knit one for her Sicily trip, and it was beautiful. And she was very, very like clear to say that it is a very daunting pattern, but in reality, it's actually not that bad. Like once you get going, it's more nerve-wracking initially than it is like actually knitting it, if that makes sense. And so when Inês put out this call for the Melides dress update, I was like, you know what, maybe this is my sign. If I get this, maybe this is the sign that I should knit it. I got it, and I am so excited. It's quite an intensive pattern. If anybody has knit it or you know of it, it's like a 30-something page pattern. It is made to fit. It's supposed to have 0 ease all over, but it's supposed to like fit you like a glove. And you can tell Inês has put a lot of care and thought into designing this pattern and how it's constructed. It is very intimidating when you open the pattern and you see these 30 pages, but it walks you through, and so far it's been very clear. Obviously, I am like at the beginning stages. I haven't swatched yet, so we'll see how like the actual knitting process goes, because it is knit flat back and forth for, I want to make a mid calf length one, so I got quite a bit of knitting to go. But for that, I ordered some more Knitting for Olive pure silk in this a beautiful olive color. This is the color I'm doing for my dress. I cannot wait. I think it's so pretty. It's coming up a little bit more brown on camera, but I promise you it's like a really pretty green, and I am so excited. I was between copper, this color, and like a blue dove color, but I thought that this green would be the most wearable for me personally. So yeah, olive Melides dress is coming up. So this test knit is going until September. Come September time, we are actually going to be in Japan. So I'm going to kind of have to get this done by August, but I'm really excited. Like I said, I'm kind of on the fence right now in terms of, do I want to start test knitting or swatching on metal needles or bamboo needles? I haven't decided yet, but my goal is to get the Reveries tee finished before I dive into this one. And I think I'm close to finishing the Reveries tee, so I can focus on this one. I don't think I want 2 pure silk projects going at a time, because it is quite a bit tougher on the hands than, say, like a merino or something. Picked up 6 skeins of this, which was new additions. With that order, I also picked up a couple more balls of Knitting for Olive merino, because it's my favorite like fingering weight yarn that I kind of want to make some summer like tanks in. I picked up this beautiful poppy blue color, which is a little vibrant for me, but I don't know, it really spoke out to me. And I picked up dusty aqua. So 3 skeins of each to make tank tops and t-shirts. No specific plans in mind, but I've been having a lot of like tank top like inspo in my head, and so I think something along those lines will come up. And then I more recently have come up with like a stripey something using all of this stuff in my head too. And then lastly, in that order, I threw in a sock yarn. This is the Cascade Yarns Refine. This is 100% recycled materials, 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% viscose, and it's just a white sock yarn. I really want to make white ankle socks with a little bit of a frill to wear with my clogs. I bought some like Dutch styled clogs, and I think that'd be so cute with like a dress in the summer. So picked up some white sock yarn. This was only $15, which was really nice. I almost got white yarn at Knit City, and Ryan was like, should you not be getting like a more fun color, because you can get white sock yarn anywhere? And I was like, true. So didn't get that there. Speaking of Knit City, I'm going to quickly go over what I picked up from there. I have filmed, and by the time this video goes up, that video should have gone up, a video of my Knit City experience and going in detail with the yarn that I got. But very quickly, I picked up a couple skeins, a lot of minis. I'll go through the minis first. So I got, like I mentioned, quite a bit of minis. My first stop was at Sticks and Stones Yarn Boutique. They had like a mini skein bar that you could pick your own, and I picked these really fun 5 colors. I picked 2 kinds of pinks, a purple, an orange, and a yellow. These are, oh, Jupe has joined us. These are going to be put into my half scrap blanket. In addition, I picked up 3 mini skeins from Lynchen and Lace. These are the only ones that actually have names. I picked up this olive that is a little bit brighter than like that olive, but like kind of same vibes. This one here is called the Shrub. This really fun green with some yellow. This one is called Baby Leaves. And then this pink with yellow, like a baby pink with a pastel yellow, and called Bouquet, also for my half scrap blanket. And then I saw this like mini skein set from the Green Button Jar, which is a Windsor-based hand dyer. And I thought these were really fun and colorful. So it comes with like a reddish color, a pink, 2 yellows, and 2 blues. And also eventually going to go into my half scrap blanket. These ones don't have names, neither do the Sticks and Stones one, but they're all of these are like their sock yarn. So they're a blend of merino and nylon. Also at Knit City, I stopped by Koigu, and they have such fun colors. I really wanted to pick up the pencil box set that they had as a special there, but ended up not, and went with 5 skeins of this really fun, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's this kind of like unicorn speckled sprinkle vibe. I don't know, but it's like this blue with pink and yellow. It's like super fun and vibrant. Plan is to make a vest. I don't know if that's the like best idea, but I think like a vest in this color over like a black long sleeve would be so nice. This is their Emmy base, which is 75% merino wool with 25% cashmere. You get 118 meters for 50 grams. And like I said, I picked up 5 for a vest. A lot of fun colors. Would definitely recommend checking them out if you really like really fun variegated colors. And then the last thing that I technically picked up at Knit City, but I didn't actually get until I got back home, was 3 skeins of, the Lab Fibers Smooth Sport in the color Speckled Ash. And it's this off-white with this really fun like brown speckling. It is a 50% superwash merino, 50% silk blend, and it is luxurious. Like the drape on this is unreal. I think it will be amazing for the spring and summer. The reason why I picked it up was because at Knit City, Caitlin, the owner, had a sample knit in this yarn of the poppy tee, and it was beautiful. And so I don't know if I'm going to make the poppy tee specifically, but I definitely want to make a t-shirt in this, and I picked up 3 skeins. And the reason why I just got this was because at the time at Knit City, she only had 2 skeins available, but I needed 3. She was so gracious and ended up dying to order, and it turns out she's a local yarn dyer close to me. So we're both based in Ottawa, and I picked them up from her studio yesterday. And so I have them here now, and I can't wait to knit with them. I can't wait to knit with everything that I purchased, but yeah, that's all that I purchased. Quite a bit of yarn acquisitions in this one, which was to be expected. Okay, let's quickly do a yarn stash update. I'm just trying to clear off my laptop because that's where all my numbers are on. Okay, so quick yarn update. For those of you who are new and don't know what's going on with this, basically at the beginning of 2024, I made it a goal to kind of prioritize my yarn stash. And how I was doing with that was I was hoping to get down to 100 units before buying more yarn. I hit that goal at the beginning of April, and right before local yarn store day, and purchased a whole bunch of yarn for local yarn store day, purchased a whole bunch of yarn for Knit City and for Test Knits. And so I am now giving a little bit of an update in terms of like how that's been progressing. I've been in a bit of a spending as evident by the new yarn, which is totally fine. I'm really enjoying it. At the same time, I'm recognizing that like this is something that I'm kind of like, I'm enjoying the process of acquiring new yarn just as much as I enjoy the process of using new yarn for the first couple months. Now that we're quite a bit higher in terms of my like unit count in my stash, I'm hoping to shift gears into prioritizing the yarn that I do have now, because I am very excited with everything that I bought and all the stuff that I can make from it. That being said, I am not capping my spending. If I do purchase more, that's fine, but also let's try to focus on all the stuff that we have now. So quickly, in terms of the status, I started the month of May with 194 units, so that was after all of the yarn acquisitions from local yarn store day. We had 13 units come in relation to Knit City and just like test knit ordering stuff that I've showed you just now. Small caveat, I don't count minis as like part of this unit count because they're kind of like scrap-ish yarn in my sense. So yes, that's kind of like a loophole in my system, but this is my system and that's how I've classified it. And we've had 6 units go out, i.e. be used up in projects. So current total is 209, which is very different. And that is a big number. So it is something that I'm very cognizant of, but I'm very thankful to be able to afford all of that. And I'm really excited to knit with them all and all the plans that I have. And so yeah, it's going to be a really fun knitting couple months. And I think the biggest issue that I'm having right now is I don't knit fast enough, but also another goal that I had was to like stretch more and like prioritize my hand health and stuff like that. So it's not a race, it's part of the journey, and I know I'm in a really good, happy place right now with all the yarn and the projects that I'm working on. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. The weather has been glorious, and so like spring, summer knitting is very much on my mind. The Melides dress is very much on my mind, and so I am really excited to plan for the next couple months and maybe sit down and like hash out a little bit more in terms of like where I think my knitting is going to be going for the foreseeable future. I obviously am still working through that like stick season sweater, which is very much not a spring summer knit. And so if I also feel like casting on a sweater, that's totally fine too. Let me know if you guys have any fun summer plans, knitting related or knitting not related. I have a cottage trip at the beginning of July, and I think it's supposed to be just like a really nice outdoorsy summer. I've been having so much fun like gardening recently and just spending time outside, which I think has also been hindering my like knitting mojo. Not a lot, but like it's definitely slowed it down, which is okay. Everything's a phase, and wintertime is where you can hunker down and get cozy with your knitting, where I think we should go outside and enjoy the sun if that's something you like to do, which is definitely what I'm looking to do right now. So yeah. Really excited to see how the next couple months go. I really want to start like knitting tanks and t-shirts soon, because in all honesty, I like either wear my tank tops a lot, or like my knit tank tops a lot, or my sweaters. I find that like I actually don't wear the t-shirts as much as like I thought I would. And I think that's because like tank tops, you can wear them by themselves in the summer, or you can wear them under things in the winter and they're really warm. And then obviously sweaters are just sweaters for the winter and fall months. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.